Oh, big fish.
Big fish?
Big fish.
Okay. Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by for this episode. Stay tuned for after the fishing action to get the real story about how we caught our fish in this tournament and how tough a day it really was. You'll be amazed. Thank you. Here's to the action.
Now I did put the antenna down a little bit. Oh yeah. Yeah. Is that you, buddy? Yeah. In the witch's ditches. There you go. Leave it up.
Got a board.
Hot board? Bobber?
Where's our measuring?
Oh, it's right in here. You had it, remember? You were teasing me about it?
12, right?
14. I don't know, we had to measure, yeah. Is he 14? Yep. He's gotta keep it. Left side. So the camera is pointing in the air for some reason. Got myself a little one. Nothing huge. Shane got a keeper already, so that's on video. But first one of the day, little dink. Wish you could keep, but can't have them all.
When I first seen it, I thought it looked like a little spot.
No.
Another one though, in the boat. Don't count for the tournament. So I started up there, okay, and probably 200 yards off the shoreline, and I went towards the shoreline. And I'm like, okay, let's see how big this flat is. And I came out, and I came out, and I came out, and I finally found the drop off, and I'm like, oh, fish on. Yep. Net. Net.
I think it's a bass. It's a bass. Net. It's a keeper.
Good.
Yep.
Over here, right here. Right here. We're messing around with it. Get him in here.
Hey, you gotta quit messing around here. Did you see what Mr. Flint just did to my heart? Okay, he says, first of all, stop messing around here. Spot lock us. Because you want to stay right here, because I just got, it's a perfect spot. Anyways, stop messing around. He goes to net it. Doesn't get it. All right, anyways, enough teasing Mr. Flint. We got ourselves a nice bass, a keeper. So I am officially now on the board if I don't get hooked by this guy. Face first, so hey, that is definitely a keeper. We're gonna measure him, tag him, bag him, stuff him back there, and let's try to get some more. Oh.
There's one little lure.
All right.
No, that's a spot.
Little spot.
Yeah.
He's 12, he's keeps.
He's not 12.
I'm rooting for you, Shane. He's 12. No, maybe not, but
No.
I'm rooting for you, buddy.
Got a little spot on the crankbait. Trying to get the big ones. But you've always heard me say sometimes you have to weed through the big ones, small ones, to get to the big ones.
You didn't measure him? No, I would have still measured him just in case. Well, become a what you call it, on vacation. Yeah, somebody dropped something. Will you help me keep the species? What is it?
Oh, no. That's bad, huh?
Oh, it's a spot. Huh?
It's another little spot.
Little teeny spot. You're gonna measure him, make sure. Hey,
I'll measure him just to make sure.
might as well measure him, buddy.
Mouth closed. He is 11 1/4 inches.
See that? But
Not quite big enough.
right. Okay. Good. And next time we talk to him, tell him I said hi.
He didn't know anything about it. You got one?
Nope. Yes. Oh, baby. You're a largemouth and you're not, yeah, no, you're not gonna keep, but finally got one on a spinnerbait. And really shouldn't say finally because we only started throwing them about 10 minutes ago. The wind picked up finally, and we're now in these back bay. We didn't know it was here. We drove by about 3 times. First time fishing the lake, and really nice lily pads. And I just got done telling Shane we usually don't catch bass off the lily pads, but here's proof. And for giggles, I have to measure it. I know it's not close, but 11 1/2. Not even legal for 12, but we need 14 for this. All right.
Oh, I missed one. Throw right behind me. Throw right behind me. Man, there's a slam too. Could have been both in. Got him?
Yep.
Bass? Yep.
Bass.
Another short.
I don't know. He might keep.
Get him in here.
He might be a squeaker. I need 14. Oh. I don't think he's 14, but
You're welcome, by the way.
oh. Yeah, well, as soon as he stops jumping around, it's spining me. Jesus. Come here. All right. So, Shane had a strike. He missed it. I threw it in. He told me to, so I got it. And 12 inches. 2 inches short. Need to get him a little bigger.
This is. Oh, we gotta go back there. That's the water back there.
I just throw something. You were already in and reeling. Go back way back there.
Yeah, I see one blow up at the top of the water back there. Wind blowing into the cove. Got another one?
Oh yeah.
That's a. Oh, there's a. You got a follower.
There's a whole school of them. That's a keeper. And he flopped off the hook, but he's a keeper. And I think we can back off. So a whole school just followed this guy in. Let me give him a quick measure. He is 14 1/4. Get him in a live well and go.
This is how you win a tournament in the last 45 minutes.
Huh?
This is how you fish a tournament in the last 45 minutes.
Yep. Well, where's the? Are we still here?
No, we turned out. We're going down.
Where did we just catch the fish? Here.
Right there.
Okay. Because there was
I threw right back in there, but there was a follower. and he
there
had
was
a follower.
3 followers. I saw 3 or 4.
Come back there.
Yeah. Yep.
Are you doing a white silver?
White gold. So I say turn around right now.
No.
No?
No. We're going down in there and coming back there and turn around. You got one?
Yep. Okay, the spinnerbait bite is on fire.
Move,
Little
move,
bit,
move,
sorry.
move. Gotta change the spinnerbait.
Yep. So way too small, not even measure. Fish on. Big, decent.
Need that?
I don't know. He's wrapped up again. But there is.
I know
I
you
got
got
him. I got him. He's
Yeah.
on. And
Go walk to the back. Don't let him break you off on his ladder.
all right.
Don't break my rods there.
All right, good enough job. You took off and
Well, I mean,
no, at the same time you hit, you didn't know. So. All right, just picked up another keeper. We have about 10 minutes more to fish, and we got to go in. I'm going to give him a quick measure just to ensure, but I know he is. Yep, 15 and a quarter. Bag him and tag him. There we go.
how far are we from boat ramp?
10 minutes. 5 minutes.
So 10.
Right, because there's a lot of... Well, I think once we're in the morning, we're okay, but I like to be... Yeah?
I have a big boil. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, I thought it was... Go right in behind me. No, that's all right. Same spot. Damn, there, yeah, we need to... That's
Back
another
up?
hit. I got another hit.
Okay.
Did you get him?
Stay back. Yeah, don't let
I
it
am.
go.
I'm trying to get him. There's a big fish over there. There's a big boil anyway.
Fish.
Get him?
Yep. Could be a keeper.
Get him in.
It's a keeper. I think it's a keeper. I hope it's a keeper.
Measure it and go. That's the one I missed.
Okay, we got another one. I gotta see if he's a keeper. We are in... Dude, it is 14 and a quarter.
So, hey, Gary, thanks for tuning in tonight. Let's talk about that first day on Lake Eufaula. We had expectations of grandeurs and big bass and all kinds of stuff, but when it came down to it, it wasn't as great as we thought it was. What do you think?
It was far from what we thought it was going to be. You know, I went up the day before and pre-fished. Never been on that lake before, and you know, I don't know how many acres it is, but you know, I found a few spots, and I got actually a really nice fish on the first day. It was like 2.5 pounds, and not huge for that lake, but it was a good start, and I got a bunch of dinks. We had some spots to start, and you know, expectations were mediocre. But when we started the first day, it actually started off very well. On the first day, I mean, I think within 4 casts or 3 casts, you had your first fish on top water.
Yeah.
You know, so it was actually looking very well at that point. And we were both psyched and happy, you know, and then, you know, we picked up a few more dinks, and then a couple hours went by, and, you know, we rolled on to a point. I ended up getting my big fish on that point with a crankbait. It was a big spot, you know, and then we went numerous hours just catching dinks. And
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of dinks in there. You know, when we rolled up on that first point in the morning, I had a friend who told me to go to that area that we call it the witches' ditches, right?
Witches' ditches. You'll hear me yell out somebody in the video.
Yeah. But, you know, we got that one on the point on top water. And then, you know, I think you got a small, as you've seen it there.
I picked up 2 small ones on top water later on, but they didn't help.
Yeah.
You know.
But it was not until we got to that point, that deep water point, that you discovered on your pre-fishing day that you got your first keeper.
Yes. Yep.
But after that, I mean, we caught some smalls.
But it was like here and there. I mean, and when I say here and there, 40 minutes in between, an hour in between, 2 hours in between. And
but I learned a very, very important lesson. Measure everything.
Yes.
I probably threw out because what most people don't know is in Lake Eufaula, largemouth bass to keep them is a 14-inch limit for our tournament.
That's correct. Yep.
14-inch, but a spot
Is
bass is 12 inches.
right.
I didn't measure a bass.
Yes, you know. No, you
In a
didn't.
quarter. It was 12. It was over 12. I know it was. Now that I look at the video,
Right.
measured one. The next one you said measure that thing, Shane. It was 11 and 3/4. Like, dadgummit.
The other one was bigger.
The other one was bigger.
So I mean, I try. I can't measure the fish for you, buddy, but I tried having you measure them. But
Yeah.
you would have done a little. You did great, anyways. But
Yeah.
But
that would have. I won't dig too deep into day two.
Right.
The major factor in day two, right?
It would have been a major factor in day two.
Yeah. But yeah, what from the time you caught your, so I got a keeper first thing, 5 or 6 cast in. I think about 3 hours later you got your keeper.
Probably around. I don't think I got my first fish until maybe 11.
Yeah, I think it was 10:30, 11.
We were already into it 4 or 5 hours
Yeah.
before I even had a keeper. And then after that, I think you might have caught 2 little dinks. I might have caught 1 little dink, but we basically didn't get nothing until 3:15 in the afternoon.
Right. So let's speed up to that, right? So we're having this conversation because roughly, honestly, we don't know the lake.
Didn't know the lake. We don't,
I got in at midnight the night before, right? And set up my rods, and we got up at 5. Maybe but it's late at night, right?
Yep.
Never even seen the water. You had a few hours prior on it.
Right.
And we looked, when we left that point, the wind started blowing. And I said, let's go to that point. We didn't know what that point looked like.
We didn't know what it had. No.
We didn't know what it had. We rolled up on that point, and it was magical.
It was a big, beautiful lily pad field with the small lily pads.
Yeah. It wasn't the big lily pads.
So in Florida, we get the big lily pads and then the small lily pads. I've never had a lot of luck in the big lily pads. Not to say there's not fish there, but small lily pads, you've seen me frogging in Deer Point Lake and all over the place in those things.
Yeah.
So, Shane had it right. The wind was blowing in that side, and we broke out spinner baits, and I'll let you tell the rest.
Yeah. So for folks that follow my channel know that I've talked about the wind and spinner baits all the time, especially in the spring and the fall. Summer's a little bit different, but I seen the wind start blowing. We went to that point, and actually the first thing that we got to hit was a mudfish, but I didn't bring it in it didn't hook it, it hit at it. But I got a couple hits, and I was using that mullet short arm spinner bait, which I love.
Yes.
But I couldn't hook them.
I've never seen you miss so many fish on a spinner bait in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. We have no excuse, no clue, but you were just
missing.
I
was missing it. Matter of fact, when they've seen the video now, a couple times I said, throw right back in there, throw right back in there.
Right.
Threw right back in there with your spinner bait and caught them, which was awesome. Right.
So
I mean, it was 45 minutes of just casting our arm off, right, and catching fish, and you ended up with those 4. You had 4 keepers.
4 keepers for the day. So it was for everybody to know, it was a tough day. I had 4. Shane ended up coming in with 1 fish, a nice keeper, but there were no limits caught in the league. So there was 2 people who came in with 4 fish. Everybody had 3 fish or less. Then, of course, there was some numerous skunks too.
Yeah. So something we didn't know, two factors to think about that we didn't know going into this tournament. One was that they sprayed to try to kill some of the moss down.
Yes. So
weeks prior.
All the weeds, moss, whatever plant they were trying to kill, which was the main vegetation in the points in the lake, is all gone.
It's all gone.
They did have some grass and different, vegetation, because it only kills one type of plant in the lily pads, which was nice. And we found these fish in 2, maybe 3 feet of water. Most,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
2-3 foot of water. And the other factor that we had no clue about, and I'll be honest, first time I'd seen so many bass boats at lake. Lake Eufaula is popular for bass fishing tournaments, but there were at least 3 other major, I want to say major would be BAS or MLF or something like that.
Yeah. I can't remember what they're called, what SBA.
It was the ABA, the American Bass Association.
American Bass Association, and they were there.
The Alabama Classic was going on as well.
And then, of course, multiple small leagues like ourselves. But yeah, there was, like those lakes, they always have tons of boats, and you just got to deal with them. And but by midday, even though it's a big lake, they, you all know we can cover some ground in boats. So you go to one place, and that's already been hammered 2 or 3 times by fishermen already. So
yeah, it was just amazing to me to see. We were watching in the morning, and I was looking, and it was a long train of headlights.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Ramp. It was a mile, at least a mile long. Or we could see it, maybe not a mile, but as far as we could see it.
Right. Well, we changed our plan in the morning because we were going to start at that point.
Yep.
But we're like, man, it's going to be, real dusk, really not even, and these boats are going to be coming right by this point at 70, 80 miles an hour. I don't want to be on this point at dusk with all these boats coming through, even though I got lights on, so we opted to go to the Witches Ditches first and kind of get out of the way and not get run over by 300 boats, So.
Yeah. Well, at the end of that first day, it looked like we were having fun in this 10 minutes of footage you all seen, but the last 45 minutes put, all but one of Gary's keepers in the boat. I didn't get a keeper. And after the weigh-in, you were in first place.
I was, yeah. So first place. So first place with 6.86 pounds for 4 fish.
Yeah.
So that's how tough it was.
That just shows how tough it was.
Yes, that shows how tough it was for everybody.
Yeah.
And so I was happy and grateful to get what I got. When I went in, I'm like, of course we don't know what everybody else has. So we're either like, okay, we did something wrong today, we just couldn't get on the fish or whatever else. And when we went in and I weighed my fish and I was one of the last people to weigh, and he goes, well, you're in first place. And I was like, what? With 686 and 4 fish?
Yeah.
And, so, it was good.
Yeah. And, I think I had my bass was like 2.18 or something like that. The one I had, and I was in 7th or 8th place.
One fish put you in 7th place. Yeah.
The magic of this fishing tournament to the day 2 video. I hope you all join in. We'll show the video first, just like we did in this episode, and we'll talk about the what we really struggled through on day 2. It is a big surprise. It was a big change of events.
Yep.
On what happened, but I hope you all stay tuned. I hope you all catch the episode next week.